Hey everybody, I'm Chris Johnson and welcome to Notation Nerd. In this video, we're going to talk about how to write rhythmic cues on top of slash notation in Finale 2012. This is something that I get a lot of questions about, and it allows you to be able to have music that uses slash notation and then to also be able to show some rhythms that you want a rhythm section or a musician to be aware of while they're reading slash notation. There's no default setting for this in Finale, so what I've done is created this video to make it really easy for you to be able to load this, and also for you to be able to load these options again without having to go through all these steps. Again, we're going to go through about 10 steps today, but you're not going to have to do this every single time because we're going to create a library that you can load every time you need to use it. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, in today's lesson, we're going to go through the following 10 steps. First, we're going to create a default document and load any previous staff style or document option libraries that you're already using. This is really important because as you're watching these videos, we're going to talk about creating a staff style library that you're going to keep adding to and saving over and over again so that you don't always have to load these new options. Same thing goes for your document options library. If you don't already have these going for you, then you don't have anything to worry about, and we're just going to go ahead and start you fresh with a new staff style library and a new document options library. The next thing is we're going to define a staff style, create a new one called rhythm cue, and we're going to change the setting to alternate notation, select slash notation, and make sure that we're showing our notes and articulations and other layers. Close both windows. We're going to apply that new rhythm cue notation to a bar of music, and we're going to go ahead and write on layer 4 a particular rhythm that we want to be able to see. Under document options, we're going to select our layers and freeze the stems up and adjust the floating rest by 7 steps. It's really important that apply adjustments only if notes in other layers is not checked. At the end, we'll update our library so that we can load it the next time that we need to use it. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so our first step is going to be to create a default document and load any previous staff style or document options libraries. Alright, at this time we're going to load up Finale 2012 and create a default document. You're going to find that a lot of the things that we cover will work whether you're using 2011 or 2012. Let's go ahead and create a default document. And at this time, if you already have any staff style or document option libraries, it's going to be important that you load these. I imagine for most users this isn't something that you're already dealing with. If it is, you know how to load a library. What we're going to do is we want to add on to any options that are in either one of those settings. Let's look at our next step. Okay, the next thing we want to do is define our staff styles. Let's go ahead and select a bar of music and define our staff style. So first of all, it's important that we change our view to scroll view because this is definitely the easiest view that we want to use unless we happen to be trying to format our pages. Let's switch to scroll view. And I'll go ahead and make this nice and big. Alright, so to define a staff style, we're going to select our staff tool, which is this treble clef. We'll click on a bar and then secondary click or right click the bar and hit define staff styles. Our next step is to create a new staff style, make it copyable, and name it rhythm cue. Let's try that. We're going to hit new staff style. Let's change this to rhythm cue. We're going to make it copyable. Alright, now we're going to select settings next to alternate notation. The next thing we want to do is select slash notation and make sure that we show the notes and articulations for other layers. So we've selected slash notation, and down here we're going to make sure that we're showing our notes and articulations in other layers. Now let's hit OK and close both windows. Okay. We're going to apply rhythm cue notation to a bar of music and notate a rhythm on layer 4 on the top of the staff. So I'm going to right click this measure. I'm going to come down here to our new staff style, which is rhythm cue. We can see we have slash notation. I'm going to use speedy entry, and I'm going to change from layer 1 to layer 4. Let's go to the top of the bar and type in a rhythm on this G line. Alright, now we can see that we have slash notation and we do have a rhythm written on top of it, but it's not very pretty. Now I could go in to speedy entry and hit L on top of each one of these notes and change my stem direction, and then I could grab this rest and drag it up, but that seems like a lot of work and I don't want to have to go through that on every single bar. So I'm going to go ahead and undo that and then I'm going to look at what the next step is. Okay, I can see that the next step is to look at our layers under Document Options. We're going to go to Document, Document Options, and go to Layers. Next, we want to freeze the stems for layer 4 up and adjust the floating rest by 7 steps. So here we can see we're under Settings for layer 4, and we're going to freeze the stems up and adjust our floating rest by 7. Next, we want to make sure that Apply Adjustments Only If Notes in Other Layers is not checked. And we can see right here that this is not checked. Let's hit OK and see what this does. Wow, that looks great. So we have slash notation, and in layer 4 we have a rhythm written on top of the staff, and our rest is automatically floating above the bar. This is fantastic. By floating that rest, that means that we don't have to automatically drag the rest above the bar. Now a lot of you are probably concerned that you're going to have to go through all 10 of these steps every time that you want to use a rhythmic cue on top of slash notation. But that's the beauty of libraries. So let's go ahead and talk about that for a second. Within Finale, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to File and I'm going to go to Save Library. Under here I have options to save a multitude of things inside a library that I can load into any document and then save my options. This is really convenient. What we're going to do right now is, because we changed our document options, I'm going to create a library specifically for the document options that I would use that would freeze my stems up and float my rest for layer 4. This is going to be a document options that we run every time that we load a new document, and we're going to keep loading it with all of the specific things that we want to do and the specific ways we want to make Finale act. Let's hit OK. I'm going to go ahead and call this Document Options and then hit Save. Alright, what I'm also going to do is, because I created a new staff style, I'm also going to create a new staff style library that I'm going to load every time I alter my staff styles, and then when I create a new document, all I have to do is load that staff style library and I'll be able to have this new slash notation. Let's do that now. File, Save Library. We'll unselect Document Options and select Staff Styles, and what this will do is this new rhythmic notation on top of slash notation will be available. We're going to hit OK, and I'm going to name this Staff Styles. Okay, so let's test this theory. We're going to go ahead and create a new default document and see whether or not we can easily create this new setup. I created a new default document. I'm going to change to my scroll view. Zoom in a little bit here. And I'm going to switch to layer 4. I'm going to write a rhythm on top of the staff. And I'm going to come over here to the staff tool, select my measure, and I'm noticing that I don't see my new rhythm cue staff style. That's because I didn't load my library yet. So let's come up here, let's go to File, Load Library, and under my custom folder I'm going to first load my document options, which should freeze my stems up and float my rest. And we can see it did that. Now I'm going to also load a library for my staff styles, which should make my rhythm cue staff style available. Now when I right click this measure, my rhythm cue is available. I select it and I can easily create as many different measures of this style as I'd like. Okay, and you can see that we easily have access to this. Now there's some beaming things here that we're noticing. We can easily break any of these by using our / key command, or there's actually a way we can set the document options for that. But we're going to save that for another video. There's one other question that I know a lot of you are probably going to ask, and some people like to see a different style note head when they're writing this sort of rhythmic notation. For me personally, I don't really think it's that big of a deal, but if you want to be able to do that, it's pretty easy under your special tools. We're going to click down here under our special tools, and we're going to select this tool in which we can adjust our note heads. If I click this measure, these little boxes show up next to each note head. I'm going to create a box around these, selecting all of them, and then double click. When I do this, I have a lot of different options for my note head. I'm going to select this X, and now each one of these note heads is an X. I could do the same thing for this bar. I click the bar, drag a box around all the little boxes, double click, change this to an X, hit select, and I have X's. Well, I hope you found this video helpful, and I hope now you'll be able to easily use rhythmic notation on top of slash notation anytime that you need to. If you enjoyed the video, I please do ask that you'll like it, share it on Facebook, like my page on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and please, by all means, submit any questions that you have about notation, about Finale, about music technology in general, and I'll do my best to create a video to help you answer those questions. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.